Most people think focus is about productivity, about getting more done in less time, about apps and hacks and morning routines. But they're wrong. Focus isn't a tool. It's a weapon. And the people who know how to wield it, they don't just become efficient, they become dangerous. Machiavelli never wrote a self-help book. He didn't preach morning affirmations or mindfulness. He wasn't trying to be relatable. He wrote for rulers, for strategists, for those who wanted power, not peace. And he understood something most people miss. Focus isn't about doing more, it's about dominating more. Let's get something straight. The average man doesn't lack intelligence. He lacks direction. His power isn't gone, it's scattered. His time isn't empty, it's leaking. And Machiavelli would tell you this: what is dispersed is weak. What is concentrated becomes unstoppable. So the question isn't just, how do you focus? The real question is, how do you weaponize it? Most people try to focus by adding more tools, more systems, more habits. But real focus begins with subtraction. It starts by eliminating. Machiavelli once said, "A wise prince must imitate both the fox and the lion." The fox avoids traps. The lion eliminates threats. For you, distraction is the trap. Options are the threat. Your mind isn't cluttered because you're incapable. It's cluttered because you've indulged. You've made yourself available to everything and committed to nothing. So here's your first move: cut. Cut 90% of the goals that don't move the needle. Say no to people who steal your time out of guilt. Stop trying to be good at everything. Instead, master one thing so intensely that it forces the world to rearrange around you. Machiavelli understood this. When you say yes to too much, your energy becomes noise. And noise isn't power, it's weakness in disguise. He believed what you exclude defines you more than what you include. Choose one battlefield, one mission. Burn every exit. Burn the fallback plan, because the man with no way out becomes unstoppable. He's not half in. He's committed at a cellular level. Modern thinkers might call this deep work. Machiavelli would call it territorial control of the mind. You occupy a space so completely, a skill, a business, a craft, that others are either forced to submit or quit trying. That's focus at the level of psychological warfare. But there's a hidden enemy, one you probably ignore: availability. Being always online, always responsive, always present for others. That destroys more ambition than failure ever could. Machiavelli advised rulers to be silent, to be unpredictable, to be mysterious. Why? Because silence creates tension. Tension creates fear, and fear creates power. But even beyond that, when you're always reachable, your energy is always leaking. A scattered man can't build a legacy. A distracted mind can't create danger. So here's your next move: vanish. Cut 90% of notifications. Block off 3 hours a day where you disappear. No calls, no texts, no noise. Let the world feel your absence, so it craves your presence. This is what focus really is: not just presence, but strategic absence. Power grows in silence. Influence grows in mystery. And pressure makes diamonds. Machiavelli said necessity is what drives men to act. Comfort kills, motivation fades. But pressure, real or engineered, sharpens the blade. So manufacture it. Set impossible deadlines. Tell people what you're building, so now your reputation's on the line. Bet your pride. Bet your name. Bet your ego. Create consequences that force you to execute. Because fear sharpens the mind. Comfort dulls it. Most people chase balance. But balance is a word we've invented to justify mediocrity. Machiavelli wouldn't respect balance. He'd laugh at it. He prized control, total control over your thoughts, your time, your output. That's not soft. That's not gentle. That's not peaceful. It's ruthless. And that's how you have to treat distraction with cruelty. Not tolerance. Not compromise. You don't manage it. You destroy it. Uninstall the app. Block the site. Remove the person. Cut the excuse. You don't outthink distraction. You outmuscle it. Build your day like a tyrant builds a state. Most people wake up like tourists. No plan, no direction, just reacting. But a focused man, he wakes like a ruler. Every hour accounted for. Every task aligned with the mission. Every breath in service of the empire he's building. And this isn't about joyless routine. It's about sovereignty. Ruling your time, commanding your energy, owning your mind. Your focus isn't just about the things you do. It's about the man you become. That's the truth Machiavelli would preach. Not for peace, but for power. Not to improve your life, but to seize it. In a world designed to distract you, the focused man becomes untouchable. And here's the twist. The people who chase peace rarely find it. But those who chase power, real power, inner power, mental dominance often end up with both. Because they're not flinching. They're not wandering. They're not chasing. They're building. Quietly. Sharply. Relentlessly. And by the time the world notices, it's already too late. Most people think the enemy is outside the apps, the noise, the chaos. But Machiavelli would tell you the most dangerous threat is inside. Your own weakness, your own indulgence, your own lack of control. Your focus doesn't collapse because of the world. It collapses because of you, the parts of you that crave comfort, that fear silence, that want to be liked more than they want to be great. That's the enemy. And that enemy must be crushed. You have to govern your inner world like a ruler governs a kingdom. Every part of your mind must serve the mission. There is no room for rebellion. When your mind drifts, you punish the drift. You don't negotiate with laziness. You cut it off at the source. You don't justify your distraction. You expose it. You train your attention like a loyal guard dog, reward it when it obeys, correct it when it wanders. Because your attention is your crown. And the moment you drop it, someone else will wear it. You can't master everything. That's a lie. Productivity culture sold you. Machiavelli didn't believe in doing it all, he believed in doing what mattered most. In any game of power, 90% of success comes from 10% of action. So stop being busy. Start being surgical. Ask yourself, what is the leverage point? What skill will unlock the most? What action will create a domino effect? If you're building a business, is it content? Is it outreach? If you want to earn respect, is it your presence or your precision? Forget the 100 scattered punches. Focus on the sniper shot. One strike, one result. And don't stop at action. Study your mind like a spy. When does your focus break down? When does your energy peak? What ruins your momentum? Track it. Log it. Learn it. This isn't feel-good mindfulness. This is tactical awareness. You are surveilling your own brain not to feel, but to control. Because once you can watch your own mind without reacting, you can command it without resistance. This is where rituals come in, not because they're spiritual, but because they prepare the psyche for war. You need a ritual of battle, a consistent, structured, repeated pattern that says, now we build. It could be lighting a candle, sitting in the same chair, wearing a certain hoodie, opening a notebook and writing one sharp, clear sentence. Whatever it is, make it sacred, make it consistent, make it ruthless. Then assume the identity. Don't just practice focus, become it. Machiavelli cared deeply about appearances, not for vanity, but for psychology. If others see you as focused, decisive, unshakable, eventually you believe it too. So move with intention. Dress like someone with a mission. Speak less. Listen with weight. Carry your plan like it's sacred. Because it is. That energy, the conviction begins to ripple into everything you do. Into how you work, how you rest, how you respond, how you decide. And if people think you're intense, good. Let them. That means the mask is working. That means the perception is forming. And when enough people believe it, it becomes truth. Now here's the part most avoid solitude. We live in a world that fears silence, that runs from boredom, that treats being alone like a problem. But Machiavelli, he did his greatest work in exile, alone, disgraced, cast out. And in that silence, he wrote the prince a book that would change history. Solitude sharpens the mind. It cuts the noise. It brings truth to the surface. So don't avoid it, engineer it. Block out time where you vanish. Cut off external validation. Sit in the silence and let your brain scream. That's the detox. That's the purge. That's your mind rewiring itself for power. Once you can sit with yourself, truly sit without distractions, without stimulation, without needing anything, you become unbreakable. Because now your validation comes from within. But focus also requires structure. This isn't just about mindset. It's about systems. Machiavelli told rulers to fortify their cities before battle. You must fortify your life. A workspace that demands intensity, a calendar that protects your hours, a routine that makes drift impossible. These aren't nice-to-haves. They are walls, barricades, weapons. Even boredom, yes, boredom becomes part of your arsenal. Because when you master boredom, you master stillness. And stillness is where true clarity is born. Sit in a room with nothing but a pen. No music, no phone. Just your thoughts. It will feel like withdrawal, because it is. But once you make boredom your ally, you gain endurance most people will never touch. And finally, feedback. Focus is not a grind. It's a loop, a system. You don't just push harder. You reflect, you observe, you adapt. After every work session, ask, what worked, what failed, what drained me, what fueled me. This is not emotional journaling. This is data collection. This is optimization. Most people treat focus like a hammer. You treat it like software, something you update, refine, patch, and upgrade. And the man who can refocus faster than he fails, that man becomes unstoppable. Because it's not about being perfect. It's about returning faster, about learning faster, about adjusting sharper. So stop asking, how do I stay focused? Start asking, how do I become the kind of man who is focused? And then build that man from the ground up, in silence, with precision, without apology. If you want true lasting focus, the kind that bends reality and builds empires, you need more than discipline. You need a mission, not a vague goal, not some half-baked dream to make money or be successful. No, a real mission. One so sharp, so specific, so consuming, it slices through distraction on contact. At the center of every great legacy, every dominant business, every dangerous mind is one obsession. One gravitational force that pulls every decision into alignment. And once you have that, everything else falls into place. Machiavelli urged rulers to chase glory. Not because glory is glamorous, but because it focuses the soul. When you pursue something worthy of legend, you stop entertaining trivialities. You stop chasing shallow wins. Your mind filters faster. Your heart endures longer. Your decisions get colder. You need the same obsession. Build the most feared creative studio in your niche. Construct a business that no one dares ignore. Sculpt a body that turns silence into respect. Whatever it is, give it weight. Give it definition. Give it teeth. Because once you do, your days stop feeling random. They start feeling royal. Every minute either feeds the mission or dies. And if you want to protect that mission, you must guard it not just from the outside, but from the inside. This is where most men fail. They build routines, goals, even success, but they never conquer the internal saboteur. That voice that whispers, maybe you're being too intense. That guilt when you say no. That shame when you choose solitude. That hesitation when you dare to aim higher than those around you. Machiavelli warned rulers the most dangerous threats come from within. Betrayal always starts inside the walls. In your case, the walls are your mind. And the traitor, that soft, scared, agreeable version of you that keeps reaching for comfort over command. So you don't coddle him, you exile him. That means no negotiation with doubt, no long talks with guilt. You don't journal your way out of hesitation, you silence it. Swiftly, coldly, permanently. And then you build external structure to defend your internal focus. Because even the most disciplined mind will break if the battlefield is chaotic. So fortify your surroundings. Set up your environment like a fortress. No random tabs, no clutter, no ambiguity. Every tool, every space, every habit must serve the mission. If it doesn't, it dies. You don't rise with willpower alone, you rise with structure. And you need to build tolerance for one thing: modern men can't handle boredom. Boredom is not the enemy, it's a test. Machiavelli spent hours in silence, thinking, writing, scheming. No stimulation, no distraction. That's where his genius was forged, not in noise and emptiness. So try this: sit in a room, no phone, no music, just you, a pen, and your thoughts. 20 minutes. Let your mind itch. Let it scream. Let it beg for escape. Don't move. Because once you can master boredom, you unlock the rarest superpower of all mental endurance. Most men collapse not from pressure, but from silence. You won't. And when you finish the work, don't just move on. Build a feedback loop. After every sprint, every block of deep work, ask, what hit hardest? What wasted time? What fueled flow? You're not just grinding. You're iterating. You're adjusting. You're sharpening. You're evolving. This is what separates the focused man from the fragile one. He doesn't just push harder. He adapts faster. He tracks results like a sniper tracks wind speed. Nothing random. Everything measured. Every variable tested. Focus is no longer a mindset. It's a system. But at the deepest level, it must become identity. You don't want to use focus. You want to become focus. You want it to drip from your presence, from how you sit, from how you move, from the way people pause when you walk into a room. They don't know why they respect you. They just do. Because everything about you says, I'm not here to wander, I'm here to win. And if it starts out feeling fake, good. Machiavelli knew power begins with performance. You act the part until the part becomes you. Fake it with precision. Walk like a man with a mission. Think like a man with a crown. Move like your time costs $1,000 per second. Because if you perform focus long enough, it stops being performance. It becomes truth. But here's where we go one level deeper. You need solitude, not just a quiet room full isolation. No feedback, no applause, no likes, just silence. Machiavelli didn't write The Prince surrounded by admirers. He wrote it in exile, betrayed, tortured, alone. And in that solitude, his genius emerged. The world distracts, solitude reveals. So block out time, disappear. Go somewhere no one expects you. Let the mind detox. Let the false thoughts fade. Let the weak parts scream. That's the purge. That's where power begins. And once the noise is gone, clarity walks in. like a general returning from war. If you want to stay focused even in chaos, you need more than structure, more than rituals, more than a mission. You need emotional control. Because the world will test you. Not with bullets, with insults. With small failures. With text messages that spiral into doubt. With comments that trigger your ego. And most people, they fall apart the second their emotions get poked. Their focus evaporates, their rhythm collapses, and they become easy to manipulate. But not you. You train to stay calm while everything else burns. Machiavelli didn't admire the calm man, he admired the cold strategist. The one who didn't flinch under pressure. The one who moved like a machine while others panicked. That's the final layer of focus emotional immunity. When chaos hits, you don't react. You observe. You delay. You label emotions out loud. That's envy. That's guilt. That's shame. Then you dismiss them like peasants begging at the gates. Because your mission is royalty, and royalty doesn't bow to impulse. Your attention is a currency. Spend it only where the returns are exponential. Every time you give it away, to gossip, to drama, to distraction, you lose leverage. Machiavelli warned rulers not to make themselves too available. A prince who's always accessible loses respect. Your attention works the same way. If it's always scattered, it's never powerful. So manage it like capital. Invest in projects that scale. Spend time with people who sharpen you. Give energy only where it multiplies. That's how you stop being busy and become legendary. This is the social power of focus. It's not just internal, it radiates. When you hold eye contact while others glance at their phones, people notice. When you stay silent while others overshare, they wonder what you're hiding. When you're building in silence while others are still complaining, they sense it, something's coming. That's the mystique of restraint. Let people project greatness onto your silence. Let them chase your clarity while they drown in noise. But even the strongest strategy can be undone by weak surroundings. And that's where most people sabotage themselves. Your circle matters. You could be building something powerful, but if the people around you mock your discipline, dismiss your focus, or constantly pull your attention into chaos, you'll bleed, slowly, quietly, until one day you're not dangerous anymore. You're just average. Machiavelli warned that bad advisors ruin great rulers. And in your life, anyone who breaks your rhythm, even subtly, is not an ally. They're a liability. You need allies who move like assassins. People who sharpen you without speaking. Mentors who don't flatter but challenge. Friends who don't need to be managed because they manage themselves. Cut the leeches, even if they're family, especially if they're charming. Because the most dangerous saboteurs are the ones who make you laugh while they pull you off course. And once your circle is tight, your fortress is strong, and your silence is working, trap yourself. Trap yourself into excellence. Make your goals public. Not for clout, for leverage. Set a countdown. Let people expect results. Now your reputation is on the line. Now failure isn't just disappointing, it's humiliating. That's how powerful men stay locked in. They raise the stakes until success becomes survival. You won't need motivation when pride is on the line. This is what Machiavelli would do. He'd build systems of silence. He wouldn't explain himself. He wouldn't justify his schedule. He wouldn't post progress updates. He'd disappear, build something terrifying, and let the results speak for themselves. Noise is weakness. Let your actions echo. Let your results whisper louder than your words. And if you fall off track, if you lose focus, if you spiral, don't make it dramatic. Don't overanalyze. Don't post about it. Don't apologize to your audience. Just return to the fortress. Reset, recommit, rebuild. Never miss twice. One bad hour, fix it. One off day, come back swinging. That man, the one who can refocus in minutes instead of weeks, he becomes unstoppable. But above all, keep the eagle view. Always zoom out. Machiavelli warned against short-sightedness. The average man is reacting to today. The focused man is positioning for 5 years from now. While others panic over a drop in views, a missed opportunity, a temporary loss, you're already 3 moves ahead. You don't just work. You wage psychological warfare on your old self. You restructure your environment, your identity, your rituals, until focus is no longer something you do. It's who you are. That's the final form. Not productivity, not balance, not peace, but command. Focus becomes your crown, and every part of your life, your time, your habits, your energy, your circle bends to protect it. And in a world addicted to noise, to dopamine, to comfort, the man who masters focus becomes untouchable. He doesn't chase power. Power chases him.